This is Hall of Fame jockey Sandy Hawley. Joe Tilley Sports coming up.
It was the best performance ever by a Canadian Olympic judo team, and our prospects look even better for 2024. Joe Tilley Sports coming up. Flip, flop, and fly. We're talking judo today with the best of the best. Don't want to miss this, folks. Okay, our first guest was born in Alexandria, Egypt, immigrated to Canada at 12 years of age. He was raised in Toronto, won the 2018 Osaka Grand Slam silver medal. He won the bronze medal at the Ekaterinburg Grand Slam. He won the Zagreb Grand Prix, the gold medal championship. He is a two-time Pan American champion. He won the Hungary Grand Slam bronze medal. He won the Grand Slam gold medal at Tbilisi. He finished fifth at the World Championships in 2021, and he finished fifth at the recently completed 2020 Olympics in Tokyo. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Shady El Nahas. Good to see you, my friend. Okay, our next guest, he's a Toronto native. Yeah, good to see you, buddy. All right, he is a Toronto native. First member of the Japanese Canadian Cultural Center student to receive his black belt. He is a graduate of the Kodokan Judo Institute in Tokyo. He is an NCCP Level 3 certified judo coach. Kodokan Sandan, third degree black belt. JCCC Judo Kai Club captured most medals at the Nationals. Named Judo Ontario Club of the Year in 2018. Ken Fukushima. Ken, welcome to the program.
Great to be here. Thanks.
Good to have you on, my friend.
Thank you.
This next gentleman spent 36 years in judo. 30 plus years he's had a black belt. 5-time junior national medalist, former junior national champion, and junior world's team member. He's a judo coach from 2016 to 2020. He's at Battle Arts Academy in Mississauga, still is. First ever Judo Canada ambassador, 10-year veteran of the World Wrestling Experience, a former Intercontinental U.S. and Tag Team Champion. Ladies and gentlemen, Anthony Carelli.
Hey guys, how's everybody doing?
Good to see you. First of all, Anthony, I want to start with you. Tell us about Milena Rose Carelli.
Oh gosh, yeah. So just under a month ago, we had a little baby girl, and it's just incredible. You know, if anybody has kids, you know how quickly that newborn phase flies by. So we're just trying to soak up every second. And her big brother Marco is adopting well, and you know he had all the attention, and yeah, just an awesome time. We didn't sleep much last night, but I don't mind it at all, to be honest.
You know, you go through that phase, you know, where you don't sleep a lot, but it's okay because you can handle it because the prize you get for your efforts is so great, and little Marco's going to be a great great asset, I'm sure. So Shady, we want to talk about you, of course. You competing at 100 kilos at Tokyo. Only 23 years old. This is your first time at the Olympics, and boy, did you ever do amazingly well. You know, fighting 5 times in one day against the best of the best, right? This is your first time in that kind of experience. You won 3 matches convincingly. The only 2 losses came, one against an Olympic medalist and the other against 2-time defending world champ. And really, those were toss-ups. I want to talk, first of all, about that bronze medal match against George Fonseca, Portugal, in Tokyo. Now, he's a 2-time defending world champion. It looked like you had more gas in the tank at the end of that match. You know, he scored that point late, but up to that point, you almost got an ippon. He took 2 penalties. They could have given him a third, which would, of course, disqualified him and given you the match. Take us through that match and what was going on, and tell us how close, in fact, that you were to winning that bronze medal.
Honestly, for me, I fought him before and I beat him twice before. And so I was going to fight very confident, of course. And as the fight kept going, he was gassing out and I was still super fresh. So I think that made me rush a little bit. I was like, okay, I gotta get him more tired. And then he caught me with 30 seconds left. And then whoever does judo knows when there's 30 seconds and you're losing by a wazeri, so half a score, it's very, very hard to catch up. And yeah, there was actually 2 seconds left on the clock, and he was about to fall for an ippon, and then last second he turns, and it was. I think the people like enjoy the fight. Everybody told me it was entertaining. I'm still not over the loss, of course, but it's kind of motivating me knowing that I'm up there with everybody.
You know, I know that you were devastated after the loss, and it was in that moment, you're this close, right? You're this close, but tell me, now that you've had some time to digest and time to think about it and time to go through where you're at in your career and everything else, how do you feel about it now? How do you feel about the experience?
Oh, the experience was amazing, 100%. Of course, we had to leave a week early because of the COVID rules and all of that, but it was a great, great experience. I'll forever remember that moment, but I'm still not over that loss, to be honest. I still think about it before I sleep. Sometimes I can't sleep because of it, but it's normal, and I think I just need to step on the mats again, and I think next time I step on the mats, I'll win a gold medal 1,000%. So I think that's going to be more of a reconciliation medal, but it'll make me feel better. So.
For sure. I mean, you're only 3 years away from 2024. You're 23 years old. Your best judo is ahead of you. Tell us, how you feel about your chances for 2024. What, how dominant can you be here?
Honestly, a lot of people retire. So, for example, the guy I lost in the quarterfinals just retired, and he was a legend when I was 12 years old. I was watching him in London 2012, actually. He was supposed to win the whole thing. And, of course, so I had my eye on him for a while, but he retired. But, yeah, honestly, like, when I went to Tokyo, I thought I was going to be like, wow, I'm at the Olympics. Like, this is insane. But, honestly, when I was tournament day, I was super chill. I thought I was going to be, like, not starstruck, but I was going to be in so much stress because it's the Olympics. But, if anything, I realized I perform a lot better under stress. So and in 3 years I'm going to be 10 times stronger than I am now. So I'm looking forward to Paris 100%.
Okay, I want to bring in Ken for a second here too. Ken, tell us about what you saw from Shady, where you see he is in terms of progression, and kind of analyze it. Where Shady's at, where he's headed.
Well, I think what's really encouraging, and hopefully it's important. It's encouraging to Shady. He hasn't hit his ceiling yet, eh? And this is like what's amazing. I mean, he's one of the most exciting fighters, not just in his weight category, but on the IJF World Tour. And obviously I'm biased, but I mean, it's not just me saying that, right? I mean, that comes up a lot on chats and on the IJF Twitter feed and other sorts of social media. I mean, he's a guy you want to stop and watch, right? And he's only moving up. And Shady, I don't know if you know this, he was just touching on, some people have retired after the Olympics because they go through the cycles. But they recalibrate world rankings after the Olympics. And I checked last night. Shady went into the Olympics ranked number 8 in the world, which is amazing, right? And I just checked this morning. I said, hey, Shady, right now, as of today, you're number 3.
Oh,
wow.
Because they recalibrate.
Great.
Yeah, they recalibrate and they drop off other results, right, from other years,
Wow.
or from other tournaments, and they start over again. So for a number of the competitors who weren't competing a lot last year because they were saving it for the Olympics, they haven't racked up points in Grand Slams and other tournaments. Shady has, because he was working through this the whole, as soon as the IJF World Tour reopened and he was able to get out back on the circuit and compete, he was out there, right, getting back on the mats, and racked up some good results, racked up points, like you said, Joe. Won his first Grand Slam in Tbilisi in Georgia, and so that's where you're at now, my friend.
Wow.
So,
That's
as
news.
the coach, sorry, go ahead, Shady. Go ahead.
No, I was like, that's good news. Good. At least it's not fifth again. Thank God.
Well, this is good, man. This is breaking news, and you're number 3 in the world. That must feel pretty damn good, I would say, right? Is that a little
And the
consolation,
number
maybe,
one
for yeah?
a little bit, yeah. But the number 1 and number 2 are Fonseca and the Georgian. So yeah, not so much anymore. No, no, it was
Right.
good. It's good.
Two
I'm
guys
happy,
and two guys you could beat. Two guys in any given
Yeah,
day
1,000.
you're beating into. And let's talk about that performance, Ken. I mean, how close was Shady? And as your prize pupil for sure, how do you feel about all of this?
He was really close, and as you mentioned, Joe, his first matches, the matches he won, like he was really dominant, right? He some posterizing wins in there.
Yeah.
And if we, so we really try to focus on those, really all the positive things coming out of it, right? Like how great those were. And then in the quarterfinals, when he came up against the Bartaliani, world number 1, like Shady said, he was his idol growing up, right? The guy's 32. That was his third Olympics. But the first time actually competing against each other. And, you can tell off the grip that the Bartaliani is really strong, like really, really strong.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Physically strong. But it was a block, and it was a close match, hard fought through that. And great on him that he came through that, because it's always disappointing overcoming a loss. And one of the challenges in a judo competition is that you go through all your matches in the same day, right? You don't have time off in between to regroup. You got to mentally regroup and physically regroup pretty quickly. So to come back in and then face the number 4 in the world in the repechage, and fight a really good tactical match for the match, and then get to golden score and just smash the guy for an ippon was brilliant, right? To get into the bronze medal match. And then, like you say, getting into in the bronze medal match, it was really close all the way through. And yeah, Shady's he's there, right? He's there.
Right.
And actually Fonseca had a really hard match just before fighting Shady. And so it was tough going through. And I'm on the sidelines. This is easy to say, right? But this is honest to God's truth. When they stopped and you could see that Fonseca was tired and they come back in the middle, I'm thinking to myself, I hope he's not playing possum, right? Because this guy, he's smart too. He's a world champion for a reason. And, one of the really, really strong traits about Shady as a competitor, from since he was a kid, he tries to win with positive judo, right? Like he's not trying to like win by like getting the other guy to, basically strike out and, like penalize himself out of the match. Shady went on the attack and got caught, right? So, and like he said, he almost caught him again at the end in that last 30 seconds. Like he still went after him and had a real chance. And like I say, and we had gone into the Olympics having discussions, right? I said, like, he's not aiming for the bronze medal, right? You're trying to win gold. Right? If you don't believe you can win the gold medal, you won't come close to the podium. So, I mean, everybody on the podium believes they can win the gold medal. So that's the attitude he went in with. And I think coming out of it, that's what he has as his attitude, right? He knows gold medal in Paris, man.
So for the first time that he came into the dojo, tell me about what was it that you saw about Shady that made you think that this was a possibility, or was there something that made you think this was a possibility?
Yeah, it was sort of like, who is this guy? No. No, it was a great story how he came to our club at all, right? I mean, this is sort of like karma and other sorts of things that happen. But when he and his brother, his family moved to Canada, they came to our club because their cousins had moved here before, right? And they were at our club. And his cousins are a little older. Shady's brother is older. So Shady was the young one coming into the club, right? And he was the one, like the older brother and the cousins were, I wouldn't say they teased him, but I mean, they kind of, you know.
Oh, no, they did.
Yeah, okay. and
he would say,
and
yes,
I
they did
think,
tease me.
I think this is true. I believe it to be true. Like I'm the youngest sibling in my family, so I kind of have a lot of sympathy for the young ones, the runts of the litters, right? So like I give a harder time. I give a harder time to older siblings and stuff. So I think I bonded with Shady and gave him a lot of attention compared to the others when he came in, and it was hard, right? He was like 12. He was still my size almost, right? Like I'm like 5 foot nothing, and Shady was like a little over 5 feet, and but big feet, right? So this is a puppy; he's gonna grow.
Yeah.
And you older guys, watch out because he's gonna grow, and he remembers as a younger sibling. You're gonna remember everything, right?
Yeah.
And revenge is coming someday. Okay. And he had this brilliant experience, his first nationals in Canada when he was like 12. How old were you? 12, 13?
Yeah.
He was young,
Yeah.
right? And in that age group, there's maximum weights, like it's by weight division. But at that age group for under 13 or under 14, whatever it was, the biggest weight division was, okay, under 66 or over 66 kilos, you're in the heavyweight for that age, right? So Shady weighed what, 66 and a half, 67?
Yeah, 66.6, something like that, 66.7.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was big. So he fought in the over 66 kilos, like the open, the biggest guys. He has to match up against some kid from, I think, Saskatchewan. The guy was 124 kilos. And
that's a big kid.
It was big.
Yeah.
Like, put it in perspective. He's bigger than the guy he fought, bigger than the guys he was fighting at the Olympics this year, right? He wasn't just like, wide. This guy was also tall, and like he was just a big guy. And, Shady's family and I think his cousins were kind of like shaking they weren't laughing, but I mean, they were kind of like, shaking their heads. I think his father was praying that he wasn't going to die or something. I mean, the whole thing was funny, but as again, this is no brilliant, NCCP level 3 coaching. This is just like, guy talking to him kind of thing as, my student. Like, I'm small. And I still remember when I was in Japan competing in grading tournaments, it's just by grade, it's open weight, right? So you're a little guy, you fight like any size. You should be able to beat anyone who's the same level as you, right? Toughy. I remember one of my friends in Tokyo telling me at the time when I got matched up against some monster, like a over 100 kilo guy, he just yells out from the stands, "Hey, he only looks big." So I told Shady the same thing when he was fighting this guy from in that final. Hey, don't worry, he just looks big, right? Shady went in, and he threw him with the back with I think it was an ochi or a kochigari or in a reap throw, but it's something you use on bigger guys.
Yeah.
And Shady, still at that age group, he had long legs, long reach, so he's able to get in, knock the guy over, land on top, and win. It was great. And I think when he eventually retires, hopefully many years from now, I guess, if it's up to him, but that still will be on his list of like favorite fights, kind of thing.
Yeah, by far.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, that was a big one early in your career. we're gonna bring you in a lot more, Anthony. So don't worry about it. We're gonna hear lots from you when we're talking about the team in general. But a couple more things from Shady that I want to talk about is you know, you can talk about the bullying aspect and being the youngest, and I can remember that stuff too. Like that was kind of me. That kind of one of the factors that got me into boxing, plus cleaning up my life and a lot of other things. But tell me, what was it about judo that attracted you? What made it? What was it about judo that made you say, "Yeah, this is for me. This is it."
Honestly, again, I grew up watching WWE my whole life, so watching Santino Marella, watching Chris Jericho, watching all these people. I grew up watching them. It was something I had such a passion about. I had over 100 action figures of all the wrestlers. So I was like, judo's similar to WWE, so let's do that. And yeah, I think because back then we could grab the legs, we could do some not WWE moves, but similar to them. So I would do that. I would honestly, Anthony knows, I would probably just do the spear to everybody in judo. So yeah, I'm not even joking. That's why I'm like, I grew up watching that, and it became something because WWE back then was very like aggressive, and it wasn't like today, of course. So I kind of learned that mentality to always be aggressive and try to go for big throws and big moves. So honestly, that's one of the reasons why judo became a thing.
Well, you know what, Vic, I don't know if you have that video standing by, but we have some video of you making some throws. And it's here we go. You know, and so the guy's pretty good at what he does. So tell me when the when we talked a couple of months before the Olympics, you were on the show and you were talking about how the WWE was something that you had in mind as a potential landing spot down the road, but that was going to come after a gold medal. The gold medal didn't come this year. The gold medal is a real possibility. It was a possibility this time around, a strong possibility. The way your career's going, the way you've improved so much over the last little while. You've only as Ken alluded to, you've only really started to get into all those, at the top of the podium in these big Grand Slam events recently, right? Like you're just hitting your peak, and yet, as Ken said, you haven't hit your ceiling. And so a gold medal in 2024 is certainly got to be the goal. Now, after that, and we were talking about Anthony about this. Now I want to bring you in. Tell us, Anthony, what kind of wrestler is Shady going to be if that does indeed become his livelihood down the road?
He's too good looking to be a bad guy, so we have to make him a good guy. But it's funny because I always tell people that judo is a fantastic prerequisite for professional wrestling because you learn how to fall. And that's why I started pro wrestling very late. I started wrestling at 28 years old. My first match at 29. And the reason I was able to fast track was 100% because of judo and how comfortable I was in taking people down, falling, submissions, and pins. We actually pin as well. So Triple H and Stephanie and Vince, they always have their eyes on Olympic athletes. Right now, Gable Stevenson was an Olympic gold medalist from the United States, heavyweight wrestler. And
yeah,
I'm sure, Triple H even wished him good luck on Twitter. So definitely getting a medal at the Olympics is he's going to be fine anyway. But a medal on the Olympics is just the icing on the cake. We can kick open the door in the office and I'll say, here he is.
Yeah.
Get a pen. Let's sign it.
Yeah.
Anthony's first match in WWE was against a guy like 3 times his size, Umaga. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, he was 360
Right.
pounds. The Olympics, though, watching him in the Olympics, so, there's a community in Ontario of judo athletes, some of the parents, and we're messing each other and sending links. Say, click this link. He's up next. And I watched the first 2. So for people that don't know judo that are watching this, Shady is the equivalent to a knockout boxer, a guy who goes for the knockout. He's not going to win by rounds. He's not going to win by technical. He's knocking you out. Someone's getting knocked out. And that's why his fights are so exciting. In this case, the knockout is a spectacular throw. But when he's fighting, someone's going to go airborne big time. And as you saw by the highlights, and there was one fight in the Olympics, he had 3 throws, and somehow, whatever, they took one back. We don't even know why still. But it was incredible judo. And then the one that he lost against Lipartiliani, that was 4:30 in the morning, so I fell asleep for that one. And then, of course, I got up at like 6 a.m. and without my contacts, checked my phone right away, and it says Shady's in the finals. And I'm like, he's in the finals! And then I'm reading the final block. He's going for third. I go, okay, that's still good. That's still good. And
Yeah.
I've seen him beat Fonseca before. Was it Dusseldorf or
It was
Czech?
Osaka Grand Slam and in Croatia, Zagreb.
Did you not
I
beat
beat
him
him
in
twice.
Hungary? Was it Hungary or Germany?
No, it's Zagreb.
Okay.
Grand Prix.
Yeah, and there was a time during the match, you mentioned it in your review of the match, Fonseca did a sloppy attack, and he had 2 strikes, and if he called strike 3, it would not have been, out crazy. It could have been strike 3. So that's how close it was that the match was right there. It was right there. And the hard part now is letting go of the loss, not letting the loss define you as an athlete. Your career is more than that loss. To stay hungry, and now to wait 3 years to avenge a microscopic error, and if Yukos were still around, that was a Yuko he scored anyway. That wasn't even a Rosari. It was just the side of his body touched for 1 second. It was so,
Yeah.
man, there's a lot of people watching along and cheering along, and he made so many people proud. It's, I know you see stuff online about how proud people are, but man, I'm telling you, Canada and Ontario, the amount of people that I was texting with back and forth behind the scenes saying he's up. We're all watching and we're all texting each other and calling each other and say, what the hell? Why did they take that score away? So as you're fighting, there's this huge network behind you of people supporting you and participating at the same time. It was an incredible experience for us back home. We just felt like we were there with you. It was awesome, man. You did such a great job. I know your family's
Thank you
proud,
so
your
much.
country's proud, everybody's proud. And I asked him afterwards, I'm like, because it's both. It's frustrating and encouraging at the same time. You're pressing the brakes and the gas because you came so close. That's frustrating, but you came so close. That's encouraging.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and the thing is, I was always like, for his weight category, the peak, I was always taught that the peak is around 26 years old for an athlete's physical, presence. But, now I believe it's closer to 29, 30. So both those ages fall right into your next 2 Olympics. So
Yeah.
you can peak next Olympics and maintain that right until. So I think you have 2 more Olympics if you want, of course. But if you want to start, making that WWE money, that's a different story. Then that's.
Yeah. That sounds nice.
Well, that'd be nice, Ken. I mean, that'd be nice for the club too, wouldn't it? Having the WWE champ in there.
Oh, it'd be great. Also, we could do an exhibition match with his older cousins and brother too. I think that'd be like.
I would like that too.
Revenge. Hey, so
Shady's revenge tour.
So the and Anthony was talking about men athletes peaking at 29, 30. I think it's closer to 60. Don't you, Ken? Don't you think it's like?
Yeah, I think.
Don't you think Anthony's off a couple of decades there?
Yeah, I mean, I passed that a couple years ago, and I feel I'm still moving up. Right, I'm still optimistic.
Yeah. So now I want to talk about the team in general, because in addition to what we saw, we saw some from Shady. We saw the women. Oh my God, we had Jessica got the bronze medal. Catherine Beauchamp-Pinard, both picking up bronze medal the very next day. So after Jessica, I believe she became the first woman judoka to win a medal at the Olympics. The very next day, we got Catherine Beauchemin-Pinard, and then in addition to that, Arthur Margolidon, or Margolidon, I can't remember.
Margelidon.
Anyway, Margelidon, right? He got fifth place in 73 kilos. So altogether, it was an incredible performance when you consider we only sent 6 athletes to the games, and we come home with 2 bronze medals, 2 fifth place performances, and out of 6 athletes. That is phenomenal. Now the question is, how do we get more athletes, in the next Olympics, and how do we just take it that next little step? I guess maybe Ken, as a longtime coach, how would you speak? What would you speak to that?
Well, I think this is one of the things that's really interesting with the development of judo as a sport in Ontario and in the country. It's gotten much more organized now than it was when I was Shady's age, okay, like 100 years ago, kind of thing. But there is a good network, a good system, really, of community coaches, community schools, like building up young athletes, and eventually out of the recreational kids or other people who take up judo, some of them are attracted to competition. They go into competitions regionally, and they get identified by the provincial high performance team as these kids have potential. And so there's a youth academy that Judo Ontario runs for young athletes, and then some might graduate from that into the national training center, the national team, which is kind of the progress that Shady's made. So it's good that structure is in place, and I think there are some good young athletes, some kids now who we haven't heard about yet, who are still at the provincial level, competing at the national level in their age groups, and we're really hopeful for them moving up at the national scene. We've got some young guys who are like a little bit younger than Shady, who are coming up, who have been world junior medalists, and so we're optimistic for them moving forward.
What do you think, Anthony? What are your thoughts on where we're at in judo, how far we come, and where we need to go?
Yeah, it's. I mean, Ken hit the nail on the head. It's the organizations, they have to, and they're doing a fantastic job. And it starts from the IJF. When I went as a guest to the IJF, it's incredibly run right now. The Grand Slams, the Grand Prix, they're all consistent with the quality of the events. And then, of course, it's Judo Canada. Judo Canada now has, when I was on the national team, we didn't have the facilities like they have now. The Olympic Training Center in Montreal is incredible. They have access to, world-class strength and conditioning facilities and nutrition and all this. And then at the provincial level, they're doing a fantastic job. The provincial I think is it Ajax or Scarborough at the Pan Am Center?
Yeah, it's in Scarborough.
Scarborough, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have one of my athletes that was identified, Delana Jessa. She's there. If everything works out the way it's supposed to, she's a future Olympian. She's one of those just super gifted kids that trains when other kids are sleeping. And, she trained every single day during COVID, and she's hungry and talented, and she's, she just destroys people. And she's this adorable little girl who's just vicious. And that's what you want anyway. But yeah, you know what? Canada is just doing better and better. And it all stems from the top, from the IJF and the way the events are run. And the World Judo Tour is incredible. The scoring system. Canada, when you look at the draw sheets and you go, I got Canada. Oh, that's going to be a tough one. That's the conversation now, right? At one point, it was like, oh, I got Canada first. No problem, right? And then it's not the case anymore. Canada is tough in every single division, weight category. We're just getting stronger and stronger. But it's something we're good at. And the Canadians got to know that there's a sport out there called judo, and Canadians are really good at it. And, put your kids in it, because they can go to the Olympics as well.
Do you think this will inspire some young kids to get involved in judo, like this type of success that we're having internationally at the Olympics? Ken?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, for sure it will. Because they see, people at our clubs or in the province, they know Shady, right? Because they've seen him at tournaments, they've seen him at the club, they see him doing around things, and the province has done a good job too with promoting him and his accomplishments, and Jessica Klimkate, and other athletes from Ontario who are doing well. And just touching a little bit on what Anthony was saying about his student going out to the Pan Am Training Center. That's a legacy from the Pan Am Games in Toronto, right, in 2015.
Yes.
That center was built so that it was set up as well to as a legacy, as a facility for young athletes to train to make it to those next levels. And I think what's challenging right now, and I'm sure Anthony is hitting on this too with battle arts, is that while we're really inspired by, the great performances at the Olympics by Shady, by, the judoka, we're also dealing in a post-pandemic world of like, wow, great, we can increase enrollment, but not. It's kind
Yeah.
of like, yeah, but we have to limit class sizes and we have to do those things. So it's a challenge, but I think, I think you try to keep perspective on things, right? And do the zoom out and look at the big picture. And one of the lessons we always learn in judo is that you fall down, you get up. You learn how to fall without getting hurt, and you just get up and keep going, right? And it's kind of like what it is now, I think, for the clubs and for the organizations, for the sports, that, we're quite frankly down on membership right now because, during a pandemic, starting judo isn't like first thing people want to get back to necessarily, right? But keeping fit is, and judo, what's great about it, it's a lifelong thing. Like, we started as kids and we're still doing it in our 60s, 70s. We can still keep going. So it's a long haul. So we're in it for the long run.
So, Shadi, tell me about the challenges. About challenges during the pandemic, how that changed, everything for you. But I will say that that despite the challenges, you still got to make the best of whatever situation you're handed, and we're dealt a hand. We have to play that hand, and it seems to me that you've done an incredible job with the hand you've been played, or sorry, the hand you've been dealt. You played a great hand. So tell me about that process for you.
Well, it took a long, long time for combat sports to be for us to practice combat sports. So when I was in Montreal, we couldn't do any judo for the longest time. So it was just we would gym, and they opened the gym for a little bit after a few months. So that was tough. At first, like the first 3 months of it, we couldn't do anything at all. So I had to figure out how to train in my house. I had to try to get equipment or anything to be active. So I think the first goal is to be active. But honestly, it was very challenging then. When we were able to do judo, we only could do it in groups of 4. So it was me and 3 other athletes, and we did that for a few months. So comparing that to in Europe, where a lot of countries didn't follow any of the COVID restrictions, they always had training partners, whereas for us, we barely had any. So I think that was the toughest thing for me. But at the same time, I don't know, I think like Mohab, my brother, helped me drastically with it because he lives with me, so I can do judo with him whenever I wanted to. So I kind of had that to help me with. So yeah, I think honestly Mohab helped me a lot, and Mohab, my brother, is in love with judo. I've never seen somebody so passionate about something in my life. So he would be the one actually to make me train more than I did, because every 2 minutes he would be like, okay, let me try this move on you, and we do it in the kitchen or something like that. So my body wasn't training as much, but my mind was constantly working on something because of my brother.
Well, that's you are gifted to have your brother. I know, who was a great inspiration for you and everything else. And so, Anthony, I know I've been butchering your name the whole time. Like, it's Santino Morelli was the your WWE
Stage
name.
name.
Do we have it, Vic? Can you were you able to dig up a little bit of that video of Anthony in his days, wrestling days? Because I
Oh
want to just
gosh.
touch on that before we say goodbye.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, we had some good stuff. We'll play maybe as an attachment to the show, but um, I'm really looking forward to the day when we see Shady in the ring. You talked about him like it sounds like he's like the Mike Tyson of judo. He takes people out, right? He's a guy with the power. He's a guy with the throws. He's a guy who takes people out. Exciting fighter. And like when you talk about judo and a young athlete drawn to judo, like why not take up a sport that is going to keep you in phenomenal condition, going to allow you to be able to take care of yourself in a scary situation, allows you to rise to the type of level where Shady has risen to, and now beyond that, who knows? The sky's the limit for him. It sounds to me like I know I get lots of notes from our pal Greg Buttry, and he also reminds me that we have a girl coming up, Priscilla Gagne, who's going to be
Yes.
Yes.
competing in the Paralympics next week, and I
Olympics,
wanted to
yeah.
Yeah,
mention
Priscilla.
her as well. And it just keeps coming, right? It just keeps coming. Um, what are some final thoughts, Anthony, as we move ahead here with the potential WWE career of Shady and the Olympic gold medalist coming up in 2024?
Well, it's funny because now they have the performance center in Orlando, Florida, and what they do is they have tryouts sometimes where they'll take NCAA basketball players, NCAA football players, NFL players, and they take these athletes and they put them through this really difficult WWE tryout. And there's some Olympic athletes there as well. And though the physical part they're going to get because they're already tremendous athletes, but then they see who has the passion for wrestling. Um, who has that it factor, who's able to have a presence in the ring, and they're willing to take those athletes, those high level athletes, and teach them the art and the storytelling aspect of pro wrestling, and from scratch. And then once they go through the WWE Performance Center, they're then called up to either NXT or Raw or SmackDown, and they have these homegrown superstars, and they actually have this in place now. So it's not like we have to do something from scratch for the first time. They look for high level elite athletes, and they really like big tall guys. And Shady is a bigger guy, and he's very tall. And you can't teach height, as they say. So he literally has all the raw materials. That's why I'm like, do your judo, and when the time is right, I'm not worried at all. My daughter's actually going down in 2 weeks my eldest is 26 years old, and she's
Yeah.
starting her professional wrestling journey down at the Performance Center, all down in Orlando as well. So
It's
look out for
interesting you had
her.
a daughter when you were 12 years old. Interesting you had a daughter when you were
Yeah,
12 years old.
yeah.
A little bit.
My hair's
There, listen, I
my beard's still black,
huh?
but I'm getting older. I said my beard's still black, but
Yeah,
I'm
I
definitely getting
gotcha.
older.
Well, listen, I want to thank you guys all for being on the show, and it's been great. Shady, congratulations on
Thank
a
you so much.
fantastic performance. We are all so proud of all our Canadian athletes in the Olympics. The judo team did particularly well, and it's so good to see. And it was nice having you on before, leading up to this, and then having you on now. And we're looking forward to getting you on the show again, before and after you win
Thank you
that
so much.
gold medal in 2024. And of course, down the road when you're fighting for the one of the WWE belts, the Intercontinental title, one of the belts that Anthony had, and this is fun stuff. Ken, great job. You're a dedicated coach, a lifetime coach, and you've done a phenomenal job, and it's fantastic to see your pupil doing so well. And I know that you figured the sky's the limit for him. How excited are you about the judo team in 2024?
Well, just specifically before that about Shady, it's, as an instructor, as a coach, right? There's really no better accomplishment than seeing your student or your athlete like way outperform anything, you know, you've done as a coach or as a teacher. And I think that's first thing. And I'm really excited going forward. 2024 is going to be good because there's some young blood coming up and some veterans now, like Shady's a veteran. They're going to continue and only get better.
Right. It's fantastic. You guys, thank you once again. We have some great threads. Anthony, before you take off to Montreal, you have to stop by Classica Imports. You too, Ken and Shady. When you Shady, before you head back to Montreal, stop by Classica Imports and see Jeff. He'll hook you up. And I want to say good luck. We'll be keeping tabs on you, and we're pretty excited. Yeah. Thanks, guys. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Joe. Thanks, everybody.
All right. And remember, we're all in this together.
Guests on Joe Tilley Sports receive a gift certificate from Classica Imports. Top of the line imported men's clothing. Check out the Classica Essential Collection now. Go to shopclassica.com. Slow play. It's a slippery slope. First you go looking for that lost ball, and then everything goes sideways. There are a lot of golfers on the course. Make certain of your point of entry, look quickly, and move on. Remember, we're here for a good time, not a long time. Find anything, Bob?
Not yet.
Addiction Rehab Toronto, Toronto's #1 alcohol and drug treatment center, saving lives, reuniting families. The only treatment center in the province to offer medical detox, treatment, sober living, and lifetime aftercare all in one place. Our unique and specialized programs are designed to equip our clients with the tools to successfully lead a life of dignity, respect, and purpose. Let us help save your life or your loved one's life. Call today for more information or to facilitate an intervention. 1-855-787-2424 or visit addictionrehabtoronto.ca. Joe Tilley Sports is brought to you by COSA, Central Ontario Standardbred Association, providing a united voice for harness horse people racing at Ontario tracks. Check out your benefits today at COSAonline.com and check out COSA TV on Facebook and YouTube for all the latest harness news and live action updates. Live racing year-round. Go to HPIBet.com for all your wagering options. Become a member today and your first bet is free. That's HPIBet.com.
Okay, time now for my COSA Swiss Pick of the Week. And winner, chicken dinner. Last week we were at Mohawk for Tuesday night's 9th race, the $102,000 final of the Ontario Star Stakes for 2-year-old filly pacers. I took the 2-horse, Prohibition Legal. She comes on the outside. The favorite Balance had what seemed like a commanding lead, but Prohibition Legal, driven by James McDonald for trainer Nick Colucci, and Millar Farms had a good trip in the pocket, made the move at the top of the stretch and pulled a win to win convincingly in 152 even. $6.80 to win. I had the 940 Triactor, which I picked. My bankroll is back up to $176. Yay. All right, Mohawk, Saturday night. My next pick, the Eternal Damnation Stakes. And yes, we're sticking with that winner, Prohibition Legal. And that winning combinations, James McDonald and trainer Nick Colucci, facing another tough field of 2-year-old fillies in the Eternal Damnation Stakes. Once again, I'm going to go $5 win place. There's also the Some Beach Somewhere Stakes Saturday night for 3-year-old pacers. That's a week Saturday. My bankroll is back up to $176. This bet's going to cost me $10. Let's see what happens. For all the racing updates, visit COSA TV on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Go to hpibet.com for your wagering options and check out the latest stake schedule. All right, we're going to close with a look at the folks who make this show possible. These are friends, trusted business associates, and all-around great folks. Reminder, the show is also now available on Spotify, Breaker, Radio Public, Google Podcast, and Pocket Cast, as well as the Spanglish Network and Zingo TV. Thanks once again to Shady Alnahas, Ken Fukushima, and Anthony Carelli for being on the show this week. And thank you for watching. We'll see you next week when former Leafs great Brad Smith, Motor City Smitty, joins the program. He now works for the Colorado Avalanche. And we'll also chat with Jose Garrido from PGA Tour Latino America. We'll see you then.
Get Aldo at Remax Crossroads. Do you want to buy or sell a home? Could 31 years of real estate experience help you? Why not speak to an amazing team that loves to overpromise and overdeliver? Call 416-GET-ALDO or visit www.getaldo.com to find out what next-level real estate looks like. Brian Gribben Insurance Planning, helping you solidify your financial future.
At BGIP, what we do that's unique in the marketplace is we show people how to spend and enjoy their money in their early years of retirement without the fear of running out. Also, we're able to do this without you having to change financial advisors. Please look us up at bgip.ca today. Let's book a 30-minute phone call to see how we can bring value to you and your family in your planning.
Call Brian today for all your retirement needs. We did. 905-686-5678. Brought to you by MNP, a leading Canadian national accounting, tax, and business consulting firm. MNP proudly serves and responds to the needs of our clients in the private, public, and non-for-profit sectors. Through partner-led engagements, MNP provides a collaborative, cost-effective approach to doing business and personalized strategies to help people and organizations succeed across the country and around the world. With local offices in Oshawa, Toronto, Mississauga, Burlington, and more, our team is here to support you. Visit mnp.ca to learn more. Make your next getaway a spectacular one at this luxury cottage on Rice Lake near Bewdley from Verona Real Estate Group. Perfect for a large or extended family retreat, an ideal location for any corporate morale-boosting getaway, employee bonding session, a week here, and you're set. A beautiful, spacious building for up to 10 guests, featuring 5 bedrooms, 3.5 baths, state-of-the-art kitchen facilities, and more. Enjoy swimming, excellent fishing options, just an hour and a half from Toronto. Book for any and all seasons. Fully winterized, ice fishing, cross-country ski trails, and downhill skiing available nearby. Book today by calling Amir at 647-657-6571 or email amir@veronarealestategroup.com.